Now, this is what is messed up in history. We see that list. 19-time All-Star.
Yep.
Total rebound champ. 6-time NBA champ. 11-time All-Defensive. Rookie of the Year. 6-time MVP. 2-time scoring champ. 4-time block champ. 15-time All-NBA. All-rookie team, don't matter. 2-time Finals MVP. Right? And they gave Jordan the GOAT.
That fucked up all the credibility.
They gave Jordan the GOAT in 89, 90 with not one championship.
Yep.
Right here, you broke the code. You broke the code that said none of this shit matter.
Yep.
So stop using it then.
Because you're not using these metrics.
You didn't use it when you removed Kareem. You didn't use it when Bill Russell got moved. Yep. You didn't use that shit against Magic Johnson and Bird. You removed these dudes from the GOAT debate because of how Jordan looked. So you cannot use it against Kobe, LeBron, and all these guys. You can't use 6 championships. You can't use that because you read this nigga accolades and you gave it to somebody who didn't have none of this yet.
Peace and blessings. Welcome to GOAT James Kingdom. On this episode, we're going to discuss whether or not Michael Jordan stole the GOAT title away from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. As you guys just heard, Gilbert Arenas explained how Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's career is illustrious and has all the necessary things to be considered the GOAT, but somehow he wasn't labeled the GOAT after 1989. Now, there's a lot of misunderstandings when it comes to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's career because, again, he started his career in the 70s, and the 1970s NBA was filled with turmoil. There was a lot going on in America at that time. There was a lot going on in the basketball world at that time, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was in the mix of all of this. He entered the NBA with an illustrious amateur career by winning 3 college championships and 3 high school championships. But he entered an NBA that was having battles with players and also battle with other leagues like the ABA to keep their league intact. These issues the NBA was facing was public and it was very ugly in the media, partly due to NBA owners having issues with new black players trying to make new demands for the league. Let's let an actual author of The Black Ball explain it further.
In the title of your book, you credit Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as being part of the generation that saved the soul of the NBA. They brought the flair and the style of street basketball to the mainstream. How did this change the trajectory of the league?
So it's interesting because at the time, you would think that the NBA, which was trying to distinguish itself alongside the NFL and MLB and try and gain more fans, would embrace the quote-unquote playground style of play that black players brought to the league. You know, all of the dunking, the crossover dribbles, the behind-the-back passes, and all of the kinds of things that black players honed on the playground courts in black neighborhoods. But unfortunately, there was still this perception that basketball should be a white college men's game. This became a kind of way of disparaging the players and talking about young black men's freedom, really emerging freedom and success in the 1970s.
So during the 70s, the NBA themselves were against their players actually advancing the game and making the game popular for mainstream audiences. So it was a real struggle for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to come into the league and really showcase what he was doing because, again, the league was such in a rut that they had so many issues that they never even glorified what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar can do to the league. Not only that, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar changed his name from Lou Alcindor to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and that didn't go over too well with the NBA owners and also white America at that time. We're talking about the 70s at the height of the Black Power movement. So again, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar himself was trying to find out who he was as an individual while still dominating the NBA throughout the 70s. As you can see here, between 1970 and 1979, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's legacy and career is already cemented as one of the greatest of all time. He was able to do so much within the first 10 years of his career, including winning 5 MVPs. This portion of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's career is overshadowed by the 1970s merger, ABA, and NBA issues, including such things as the Spencer Haywood trials against the NBA and also Oscar Robertson suing the NBA. And through all of this, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did not miss a beat throughout the 70s. As you can see, his per-game averages were incredible, his accolades were incredible, and his peers started to notice and they all realized how great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is, Let's go ahead and let his peers explain the greatness of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
In his 20-year career, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar not only rewrote the NBA record book, he changed the way the game is played.
Traditionally, a center was post up, robotic, catch it, pass, pick, and don't go outside of about 8 feet. Kareem came in and he could shoot a sky hook from 10 feet out.
Kareem was one of the most beautiful players I've ever watched in my life. He had grace, he had style. He had the greatest shot that the game has ever seen.
I have never seen an offensive weapon in any sport like that sky hook. And that sky hook was just poetry in motion.
See, when he get down real low, that means he's mad. He's going to score 30 or 40 tonight. Now, when he stands straight up, he might only give you 25. But if he down low, you're going to get 40. It didn't matter if you had 3 guys on him. The whole team counted 2 points. So beautiful.
Now that was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's peers and contemporaries talking about how great he was as a basketball player. Now we all know that highlights are not enough and it doesn't do justice for what we're talking about here when we're talking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So here's some footage from the 70s.
Jerry West on Oscar. Dandridge finally gets outside to help. McLaughlin, 3 inches taller than Gale. Goodrich gives it to Dandridge, who got away from McMillan, missed the shot. Slapped out. Goodrich gets it to McMillan. But the fast break is spoiled. Here's Jerry West, 22-footer, good.
Basket by Jerry
It's
West.
a 5-point Milwaukee lead. Long pass down to Jabbar, who gets loose for his hook.
Now, Keith, he didn't fool around that ball at all. He went for the hoop right away, and when he's doing that, he can shoot. He can really shoot. That's the kind of shots he wants to get.
He has 21 points. Wilt Chamberlain with 4 fouls. Didn't want to commit himself. Didn't want to get in trouble. He's never fouled out of a game, but he's got 4 right now. Here's McMillan missing. Forced the shot. Chamberlain right there for the rebound. Right time, right place.
Now, Kareem had gone out then, as he should have.
Jabbar again over Wilt Chamberlain. And it's a 7-point Milwaukee lead with 8.5 minutes to go, third quarter.
So that was the 1970s NBA. That was actually 1973 Milwaukee Bucks versus the Los Angeles Lakers. So we can see how Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played the game back then. But it didn't stop with the 70s, because as you can see, when he entered the 80s, he continued to show his dominance. Not only that, he was able to win more championships during this span of his career in the 80s than he was able to do it in the 70s. But that was because obviously he was a Laker and on better rosters. But as you can see, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did not miss a beat even in the 80s. This was what we call true greatness. Nobody could ever match Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's greatness. At the end of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's career in 1989, after 20 years of playing, this is what he amassed in the NBA. There are several records here Kareem actually broke and set in 1989 when he ended his NBA career that most people thought would never be broken in NBA history. He was the all-time leading scorer in both the playoffs and in the regular season. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a true pioneer of the game. He was ahead of the game. He was ahead of his time. And what he was able to amass in his NBA career cannot be challenged or actually disrespected by any Zesty Jeffery, because this is what Michael Jordan had to match if Michael Jordan wanted to be the GOAT of basketball, because this was the resume of the GOAT of basketball as of 1989. And in his last game, the world knew it.
That's it for Kareem now. That's it. He's out.
So we have to ask ourselves, if Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had this illustrious career in 1989, how did Michael Jordan surpass him as the GOAT? Michael Jordan never had the type of resume Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had when he was called the GOAT. And this is what Gilbert Arenas was talking about.
October 31st, 1994, the statue was installed at the United Center, right? 94. So at this time,
three
rings. He was already deemed, on the statue, it says, greatest player of all time.
There was an article in 89.
With 3 rings.
89, he was the greatest man to ever touch a basket. 89.
But the fact that they just went and etched out a statue, bro, and on the foot of the statue it says greatest of all time with 3 rings. Meanwhile, Kareem got 6. You get what I'm saying?
That's what I said. It's you only using it. See, they're only using it to keep somebody away when the person they're blocking didn't have it at all when he did it.
And those are all facts. No lies detected at all in that conversation. Because if we look at Michael Jordan's career at the end of 1993, he was labeled the GOAT of basketball by the majority of the basketball fans at that time. But if you look at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's career at that same time, there is no way you're going to say Michael Jordan was the actual GOAT of basketball based off of resumes and the standards placed before Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan fans place Jordan as the GOAT without actually having a standard for what the GOAT is, and basically ignored all the greats and legends prior to Michael Jordan and threw their standards away for Michael Jordan. Even in the sense of the idea of longevity, they love to use longevity against GOAT James, but that doesn't work against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Because if we look at this graph here, we can see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar reached certain accolades and certain achievements before Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan was a 14-time All-Star after 15 years. Same thing with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Michael Jordan made 11 All-NBA selections after 13 seasons in the NBA. It only took Kareem Abdul-Jabbar 12 seasons to reach the same amount of All-NBA selections. Same thing with the All-Defensive selections. It took Jordan 13 seasons to get 9 All-Defensive selections. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did it in 11 seasons. It took Michael Jordan 13 seasons to get 5 league MVPs. It took Kareem Abdul-Jabbar only 8 NBA seasons to get 5 league MVPs. It took Michael Jordan 7 years to win an NBA championship and to make his first NBA finals. Well, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did it in his 2nd season. The only aspect of Michael Jordan's career where he actually did something prior to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was able to do it was actually make 6 finals and win 6 NBA championships. That took Kareem a little bit longer than it did Michael. So that whole idea of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is only better than Michael Jordan or achieved more because of longevity is also a lie. At the end of the day, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's career should have made him the GOAT. They appreciate championships more than anyone, and this is what Kareem did when it comes to champions.
And these are all the rings that I got. Grade school, high school, UCLA, and then all the rest of them are from events in professional life.
So this is the thing that, you know, that players say that they sweat for, that they hope to get and do anything to get, and you got a whole stick full of them.
Yeah, well, they accumulate, I guess.
Or they just don't come at all.